Hello again, and we couldn't really wait till tomorrow because we had to see what was going to happen in this chapter, which is called...
My bottom!
Aunt Alberta sat up in bed. She gave Wagner, who was wearing matching striped pyjamas, a poke. It was time for her to give the owl rack another almighty turn and get back to the important business of torturing her niece. First, Alberta went to stand up, but instead of her feet touching the carpet as they did every morning, she placed them on a sea of marbles. Woo! Whoa! Whoosh! The little glass balls rolled under her weight with a giant whoosh. She flew into the air and came down with almighty crash, crash. Ow! She screamed. The woman picked up a handful of marbles. How the blazes did they get here? Again and again, Alberta tried to stand up, but every time she did, she fell back down again. The hundreds of little tiny glass balls rolled everywhere. So, on her hands and knees, she crawled to the bathroom and pulled herself up on the toilet. Immediately, there was a feeling of immense relief. This lasted less than a second, though, as she felt her wee-wee spurting back up at her. Her behind was soaking wet, and with her pyjama bottoms round her ankles, she jumped up from the toilet. No! Oh, my goodness! And there she is. After taking a deep breath to gather herself, Alberta peered down into the toilet bowl. Try as she might, she couldn't see anything there. The piece of glass that had been put there had been perfectly positioned on top of the water, so not to arouse the slightest suspicion. So she sat down and tried again. No! She screamed as her wee-wee came straight back up and hit her once more. Still desperately needing to pee, but abandoning the toilet for now, the woman moved over to the sink to have a wash instead. She ran the taps, wetted the bar of soap under the water. Next, Alberta closed her eyes and rubbed the soap all over her face. Really, really good wash, rub-a-dub-dub. However, a shock was about to happen. When she opened her eyes and looked in the mirror, all she saw was a stranger looking back at her. In fact, it was her own face was completely and utterly black. Do you remember they'd put coal dust, didn't they, in there? No! She cried in horror. Try as she might to wash it off using more of the soap, it got worse and worse. Now her hands and neck were completely black. Alberta put the tip of the soap in her mouth to taste it. Oh, shoe polish! Oh, not coal dust. In the mirror, she inspected her now black tongue. Desperate to brush it clean, she reached for her toothbrush and toothpaste. She squeezed what she assumed was her favourite minty toothpaste on the brush. Now, of course, she was becoming a little bit suspicious. Just as she was about to put it in her mouth, she sniffed it. But it smelt minty, so she began to brush away. But as soon as she began brushing, the bubble bath, soot and salad mixed in with the paste, began to foam. Huge soapy bubbles started foaming out of her mouth. The more furiously she brushed, the bigger the bubbles, and soon the bathroom was filled with them. There is devilment at work here, she bellowed. Upstairs in the attic, Stella and Sut listened to each new yelp from the woman. Everyone made them laugh even more. Back in the bedroom, Alberta threw a blanket over the marbles so she could walk to the chest of drawers. Determined to get to the bottom of this, she rushed to get dressed. First, she slipped on a pair of her massive knickers, as big as a child's tent.
What? Is that how big her butt is?
Yeah. As soon as she had them on, she noticed a peculiar tingling sensation. The tingling became worse and worse, until it felt like her bottom was on fire. My bottom! My bottom! She howled as she began leaping up and down, moving wildly around the bedroom. It was as if she was doing some kind of ludicrous new dance routine, all of her own invention. Wagner was now sat up in bed and watching the display. The owl had never seen his mistress do some bizarre things in a time, but this was off the scale. The ants in her pants were working like magic. The woman jerked and juddered this way and that way onto the armchair and reached for a pipe. The tobacco never failed to make everything seem better for her. Ah, this is good. She just put the pipe in her mouth before guiding a lit match to the tobacco chamber. Except there wasn't tobacco in there. It was gunpowder. Kaboom! She nearly blew her head off.
Boom.
Boom!
Kaboom.
And that's the end of that chapter. And the next, it was good. The next one's called A Game of Cat and Mouse. Until then, bye!
Bye.